Hello, hello. It's Cami Hoysa with Smart Social Secrets and Tips. And today I'm going to be talking about the 6 elements for social media success. So, a couple of years ago, somebody was asking me, what was the secret to my success of being able to show up everywhere and how did I do it? Like, did I ever sleep? That was the question, I think. And I was thinking about that. I've had an agency that has specialized in social media management for 15 years now. Very early adopter, very early to work with bigger brands with social media, including like launching entire brand strategies around social media success. And so, yeah, it was a good question, and I hadn't really thought of it like that. So I sat down with a bunch of sticky notes one night, and I wrote out what I saw as my pathway to success with using social media to promote my brand and the brands of others. And so, as I had put that whole project together, it came into a format that I am calling the pathway to mastery, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So the pathway to mastery has these 6 steps in it, and it came from exactly these questions. So I'm going to walk through each of these steps with you and tell you kind of where I came to. I'm going to share with you what I learned that day, and what I want to talk about inside of this is that one of the things that's really interesting about social media and strategy and social media strategy and how it works together is that you have a situation where it changes almost daily. What is really working online, like what is the most salient content and the times of day to post, and all of these details change all the time. And so why these 6 steps are so important is because they will teach you how to future proof your social media strategy. And I wrote a chapter in a new book that's coming up called The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever. That's coming out in May 17th, I think is the Kindle version. There'll be more on that later. I will do an entire episode on that. But I wrote a chapter about this. And really, in the end of the day, you have to future proof your social media. And these 6 steps will help you to do that. So I put together, as I always do, a little bit of a slideshow for you, and hopefully that'll help us to walk through these so I can really explain to you how they work. So, step number one, again, there's 6 steps, is explorer. And here's one of the most important things about these steps: they are more about who you need to be than they are about the actual, technical pieces of social media. Because social media, again, it changes all the time. Remember that. Right now, short form video is amazing, it's working great. There was a time where it was all about blog posts way back in the day. There was a time where it was all about your Instagram photos and how beautiful they were and how great your Instagram scenery was, or your grid was on Instagram, that it all matched and it looked great and it's curated and so on. These things change at the speed of light. And so they're only going to continue to change. So there are a couple of things that are timeless that I want you to know about. By the way, I have put in a link in the description of this video to a mini course that I've put together that goes through all of these steps in detail and tells you all of the even more steps. Again, I'm only going to spend 15 minutes with you to here today, maybe somewhere in that range. So I don't want to, I can't tell you everything you need to know in one setting, no doubt. But the free mini course hopefully will help you to go a little bit further in detail on each of these steps. So the explorer step is really about what makes you special. What is it about you that will attract people, that will bring people together? And a lot of times, this may be the hardest part for you. And when I say you, I mean you as a person, if you're doing a personal brand, or you as a company, if you're creating a corporate brand. And that corporate brand has to have a personality. It has to be almost human in many ways, to be really successful on social media over a long period of time. So that is really important. And those steps are like, what is your superpower? What is it that people come to you for? What do people turn to you for? Where are the questions that people ask you? And one of the things that I think is a little counterintuitive, and maybe if you're struggling with this, like, what is it that makes me special? I don't feel all that special. Believe me, there's mornings I wake up, I'm like, I do not feel all that special today. So, what is it that's making you feel special? Well, or what it is that's making you special. There's 2 things. One, the questions that people ask you, Are you always being asked about a certain thing or a certain way of doing things or whatever? That's a clue to your superpower. And the second one, which is a little more counterintuitive, is what irritates you. What do you think? Like, people should know this. Why do people not do this? Why do people do this? I don't understand, especially as it comes to your profession and your field. Yeah, so that could also show you some clues to what your superpower is. Giving you an example of that, I know that for me, it really stresses me out and frustrates me on, especially when there is a huge social media crisis communication kind of situation where somebody will come out and they will react to trolls or haters in a public way on a social media platform in a way that puts them into a crisis situation. So that's one example. Another example I can use that's kind of recent: Taylor Swift in her concert and Ticketmaster. That was a really big problem because during that Ticketmaster crisis, her team had only been given very specific comments and things that they could put online, and usually they were her song lyrics. And so they were answering all of these Ticketmaster questions with song lyrics, and it was really lighthearted and difficult because people were mad and they weren't addressing them directly what their concerns were. Even if they couldn't fix it, they weren't commiserating with their fans, and that drove me crazy. I didn't understand how in the world could a social media team do that in the face of that kind of criticism. And so, yeah, that is one of my, I think, superpowers, is that I can handle these kinds of crises, and I know what I need to say, and I know what people might be thinking and what we should be saying to counteract that. So, again, I don't know what yours is. I'm just giving you an example of one of mine so that you can understand what I'm talking about. So that's Explorers, really understanding yourself, who you are, and what you bring to the table. Okay, so the second step, sorry there. The second step is connector. What does this mean? This is all about how to attract followers and clients that are eager to work with you. Like, you're not out there slimy, sliding into their DMs and trying to get them to do business with you in a very slimy way. This is all about attracting your followers. And you know how you do that? You do it by being a connector. And what I mean by that is that you want to be a connector. And I guess maybe even a better way of saying that is a community builder. You want to be a connector and a community builder. And by being a connector and a community builder, you will future proof your social media strategy for life. So, how you do that is you build a community. That means people that trust you, people that rely on you, and vice versa, that you rely on them and that you trust them. So, you need to build these communities of trust because they will move in mass from social media platform to social media platform. Is Twitter terrible right now? Does everybody, have trouble with that? Well, let's go and spend more time on LinkedIn. And then you will know when they move. You will feel it, you will hear it, you'll see them say it. And the only way to know that is by having a community. As an individual, as a personal brand, this is easier than as a big brand. So, as a big brand, you need to watch demographic shifts. You need to think about what people are saying in your streams, what people are asking for, what people do not respond to. We'll talk about content in a minute, but that connector piece is so important. And moreover, you need to be sharing their information. So, everybody's talking about user generated content. We've been kind of talking about this for years, but the idea is that your fans are going to create content that maybe you might want to share in your social media platforms. And so many brands won't do that. They will not share the content of other people in their feed. They're too afraid it's going to take it off topic of them. So I have seen some brands that have done this very well. Skittles is one on Twitter specifically, where they're really following their community. Their community all moved onto Discord and were in Discord servers, or they found out they were there. And so guess what? Skittles went to Discord with them. They still on Twitter, but they actually joined them there and started a server. So that is what you need to be doing as a brand, really watching what your community is doing and following them when they move. Really critical to what you do in that. So that would be step number 2, is be a connector and a community builder. That would be number 2. Number 3 is to be an architect. And what that means, and I'll pull up my little, hold on a second. You want to be an architect of what I call your hive. So, what I mean by that is that we rely a lot as brands on social media platforms like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, and there are a bunch of them. We rely on them, and guess what? They move the cheese often. They will be all of a sudden, for years and years and years, I had a blue check mark on Twitter, but a couple of weeks ago, goodbye blue check mark. That's just how these platforms work. They own the channels, they own all of the ways that the channels work, the algorithms, everything is owned by that particular platform, not by you, the brand, not by your profile. All of that is a problem. And I have heard the complaints about this for years, like all the way back to Facebook, whenever the Facebook business pages stopped working as well. They really aren't great. And so they are, some of them work, by the way. I use one all the time for social media breakfast, and we do it through community. People know to go there to find things, and they go there on their own. So you want to have that community, which I talked about before, but you also want to architect your own hive. You want to have your own landing page, your own website, obviously, but you want to have that connect all of your social media parts. You want to have that architect that for your brand. How does that look? How does it flow? For example, I'll give you one from our brand. This live stream, I do it every week around the same time. Today I'm a little later, but around the same time. And I take it, and then one of my team members turns it into a blog post, and we turn it into social media posts, and we turn it hopefully eventually into little reels. I'm kind of thinking about that too. So, how do you take a piece of content and move it through all your platforms? So, again, our blog is on our website, and that keeps that website drawing traffic in. Today, I got a email from somebody who was trying to get me to put a link to a resource for SWOT analysis, which is a common marketing analysis. And I wrote a blog post about it some time ago, and it's obviously ranking because they're out there looking for ranking pages, and they reached out to me and asked me if I would include their resource on that page. Really interesting. And the reason why is because having your own page and your own website and have it have content on it that's constantly recurring and new content that's around the same topic, which I'll talk about in a minute, is absolutely critical for you to grow over time and to be future proof for your company. So a lot of people are using, websites are dead, blogs are dead, everything's dead. And then guess what? 5 or 6 years down the line, they're not dead anymore. They're like, now, it's back to blogging. People are up on Medium all the time, writing, and you're like feeding Medium, and you're feeding Medium's beast, which is fine because you're drawing new people. But how are you taking them from Medium back to your website so that you can create that, or get them into an email list so that you can create that relationship? That is the question. You need to architect your hive. And there's all kinds of different ways you can manage this, but thinking about that is really important. Again, that mini course that I have in the description goes into depth on this just a little bit more. So that's your next step, is architecting. Okay, then of course, as you well know, you need to be a content creator. And that's probably the hardest part about social media, is that you want to be a content creator, or no, sorry, I said a connector. I'm in the wrong place. So we want to be a content creator, which is coming up on the next one. But let me pull that up here. There you go. Be an effortless creator. So that creator is really important. You want to have a way and a method to create content fast. So these live streams, I can create them in about half an hour. I can create all of the content for them, including the thumbnail, including everything, because I have a system around my creation. So if you create what I call a scaffolding around your creation, we have content keys, we have the content generator, we have all these different methods that we use inside of our business, and also with our clients, and also with our group members. So I also have another group called the Smart Social Mastery Community, and this is content, or this is PR marketing and that type of creators. And there are people that are either solopreneurs, small businesses, or coaches. So we work with them on how to promote their businesses online, even though they are marketers and they are usually pretty good at this. But the problem is you have to have a system, a scaffolding, a way of kind of approaching this. And so if you want to become an effortless creator and not being like, what should we write about? What should we be talking about? You need to have these content keys. You need to have this scaffolding in place so that all you have to do is sit down for a couple of hours every quarter and create all of your content for that quarter so that you can just execute it or implement it as you want to say throughout that month or three throughout that quarter. So by quarters, it's really helpful, I think, because you do want to shift with what's happening in the marketplace. I think planning out content a whole year in advance is you could do it, but the problem is things change so quickly in these spaces that you want to make sure that you're addressing the problems that people have right now. Okay, cool. So that is step number 3 is becoming a creator. Okay, then that next step is really about being an attractor. You want to be attractive to people, and then you want to be able to capture their interest by having a system in place to create systems that will bring them together. So, people call it a funnel, people call it, an email list, whatever, a landing page, whatever it is. But there is an entire system around attracting people and connecting with them and keeping them in your fold. And I would say this is the biggest mistake I made in my business early on is that I didn't have this in place. I just figured we'll keep in touch online. Da 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 da. So I did not build an email list early in my career as a agency owner. I just did word of mouth. I did a lot of phone calls, a lot of consulting kind of things. And the problem with this is that you don't have a way of capturing people. Inside of this also is kind of your systems that you have in place for serving your clients or serving the people that especially if you're on the service side. So we also talk in here a lot about, or I talk about a lot in here about how to create that part of it. So how do you create packages and packaging your services and your offers? And so we talk about a lot here in Attractors, like packaging those services and offers because people buy. Honestly, there's my that's super fun. I'm gonna have to turn that off. So, yeah, let me turn that down for just a second, guys. And my mic is still muted. I said all those things, but I don't know how much you heard. I know. Sorry, guys. Who told me? I can't hear you, Anne. Sorry, Anne. I muted myself again. So I don't know where I exactly was, but I'm just going to start at the beginning of innovator. So being an innovator and educating yourself is so important because you have to be on the cutting edge of what's going on in this business right now. And the only way to do that is by getting more than just a passing knowledge. So you have to take the time out to do this. And so I was thinking about things like AI and video and so on. So yeah, it's really critical. Thanks for sticking with me, Ann. So yeah, I will cut that out later, the 2 minutes we lost. But yeah, this is really critical, is this innovation. And then the second part of innovation, education is the first part. And the second part is team building. Team building is huge for what you do because here's the deal. In the end of the day, you will not be able to do this all by yourself, even if you are innovating with other people. So you don't have to have a paid team, like a full-time team. None of that has to be something that you're doing, but you definitely have to have collaborators and people that you work with and people that you share the burden with, because this is not a solo sport. This is not an individual sport. Social media is a team sport, and you need to have that community around you. I talked about that earlier, but more than just a community, you then need an inner circle of collaborators, whether they're your paid team, and that's, part of it. But even if you have a paid team, you need another layer of collaborators. So if I had to do it like a gobstopper, one of those those things that you what do you call it? That you suck down on the layers. The first layer is like, the outside, like whoever's driving by on social media at a given moment. And then inside of that, you have a layer of people that are more like, true fans that show up, that are interested in what you have to say, that kind of interact with you, that tell you that you lost 2 minutes of video. Thank you, Anne. So you have to have that group of people. And then you need a more like an inner circle of people that you collaborate with. Also, Anne, sorry, you're in both of those. And Anne is one of those for me, which I appreciate you. So that inner circle is really critical to your success as a social media person on social media and outside of social media. It's just humanly important for you to have these people. And to be an innovator, you have to surround yourself with people that are smart, that are fun. And hey, I've got one there. Hey, Ann. And here's one of mine. And so, I think we're in each other's inner circle, which is great. And that's what's cool about an inner circle. It's not about these followers that are, zombie following you. It's like you have a group of friends. Well, they become friends, work friends that help you to grow and help you to be seen. And so that's really the bottom line here, is that in the end of the day, you need that group, and you need to be an innovator in order to continue to be relevant on social media, to attract an audience. If you're looking to be a thought leader and you're looking to be in this position, that's really important. And if you're a brand, it's also important because you need to be, bringing that sensibility into your content. So, that's absolutely 100% true. So yeah, you are one to me too. And so she and I, so this is what I'm talking about. You have to have people like Anne. Everybody needs an Anne. We used to say everybody needs a Devana. She's both of our virtual assistants. She's been mine forever, but we all need an Anne in our life that is somebody that we trust, that understands who we are and all of that. And if you have a group of those, you're going to succeed, and it will future-proof your social media because you will move together. You do not have to be the best content creator or the best, you don't have to do the fanciest tricks online or do whatever. You have to have, though, these particular people in your life, or otherwise it's just not going to work for you, and it won't work for anyone. So I just really feel like that's something that is missed a lot when we talk about social media and success on social media. Everybody talks about, like, the latest tricks and tips, and those are awesome. But these 6 elements that I talked to you about, the explorer, where you learn about yourself and who you are and what you bring to the table, the connector, where you connect with people and you grow. And again, you can see the connector and community through all of these, but that's the main one there. The architect, which is where you build your own beehive. Like, you need to have your own hive. You can't totally rely on social media platforms because they will change, they will change, they will change, they will change. Then you have to be a creator, and there is a scaffolding that you need to put in place that will make it easy for you to create things quickly and rapidly. I created this particular thing for you today, and I think it took me 15 minutes to put this together, so that I had to do some graphics. So that was the most important thing. But all these graphics are already pre-made because this is my success path. So again, the mini course, the link to the mini course is in the description. It's free. It goes through all of these steps. So make sure you grab that. That's a creator thing. And that brings me to attraction, which is that thing that I just told you about, a little mini course or something that people can taste and see and get on your list and go to your website and pull them into your world so that you can create an innovation circle, which is what we were talking about with Anne, which is this group of people that you innovate with. They're going to include employees, they're going to include close confidants, collaborators, people that are in your sphere. And that is innovation, guys, and also education with that. So you also have to add education on top. You have to keep learning. You always have to keep learning. I always say that, when you stop learning, you're done. You're like basically in the grave, because that's it. Once you stop learning, you stagnate, you won't be innovative anymore. Nobody will care what you have to say because it just doesn't resonate anymore. And so you have to keep growing at all times. So hopefully you all have kind of seen that these things are things that you might need. Grab the free resource that I've given you, which is basically 6 videos. I go into more depth on each one of these, including what you need to put in place, and some ideas for how to do that. And that is it. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comment below. And yeah, I know some of you are like, yeah, hopefully you made it to the end. If you made it to the end and through the 2 minutes of silence, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching that. Hopefully you could fast forward through it in the replay. So yeah, I just am going to say that's really critical. So in the end of the day, those are the 6 elements that I think are the most important for that. Hopefully this helps you today. Let me see what you're saying here. I'm going to go see if I got any comments. Yay. Cool. Love how succinct and spot on this framework is, Cami. Thank you so much, Anne. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of frameworks to simplify things, as you know. Thank you so much. All right, guys, take care. Have a really great day. I'm going to let you have the rest of your day there, and let me know if you have any questions. Definitely check out the mini course and tell me what you think about it. I would love to know. All right, take care. Bye.